All right, good morning, everybody. I made the classic mistake of having myself on mute and doing a full introduction to all of you. And turns out that I was on mute the whole time, so my apologies. Looks like I might need a little bit more coffee, but good morning to everyone. Thank you so much for making time for this webinar today. Thank you to the Amelia Island Convention and Visitors Bureau for hosting today's free webinar training. You can find this deck at ameliaislandtdc.com. I've included that link in the chat box below, so you can go ahead and go there. Obviously, we haven't sent over the recording of this session because we're in the middle of it right now, but you'll be able to go to that link or to that website and access the materials moving forward. So if you'd like to share it out with additional team members, you can do so. If you'd like to go back through and do a little refresher course, you can do that as well. There will be a PDF as well as a video recording from both sessions. On top of that, if anyone is interested in receiving free FRLA seal of commitment in the membership, you can contact Amy by the end of today. Reach out to her regarding that membership. So again, that is regarding the FRLA seal of commitment. So I'm going to go ahead and share my camera here. That way you guys know who you're hanging out with today. I'm assuming that most of you were able to attend the previous webinar where we talked about more basic kind of understanding of Google My Business, tips and tricks there. Today we'll get into more advanced opportunities and what you can do to expand your exposure online using Google's free tools and services. A couple quick kind of housekeeping items or additional announcements. I did include the link for office hours in the chat box as well in the GoToWebinar control panel. So if you'd like to schedule that time, I think we might have a couple more time slots available for today. We do have a pretty fully stacked day of office hours. So go ahead and click that link and see if there's a time that works for you that's still available. If not, you can reach out to us and we can try to figure out setting up some additional time if that's necessary. So if you notice that there's not a time to schedule that works for you today, go ahead and contact the Amelia Island team, and then we can work with them on setting up some additional kind of time slots here and there that would work. So again, if it's full and you'd like to schedule time with me, please make sure that you do so and by reaching out to the Amelia Island team. So let's go ahead and dive into today's presentation, part 2 of 2, unpacking all the best practices and what you can do to optimize your exposure online with Google. I don't need to spend too much time here because, again, I'm assuming most of you were able to attend or have watched the first part, but Miles Partnership, we are a strategic marketing company. We work exclusively in the travel and tourism space. My name's Josh. I'm stoked to be with all of you today and this morning. I'm the Google Program Specialist at Miles Partnership, so my role fits into 2 buckets: one, teaching, educating, and training on Google My Business specifically, as well as shooting content for Google Maps and Street View. So I actually got to spend all of last week on the East Coast, specifically in the Virginia area, shooting new Street View content, as well as Google Maps photos of the destination and the points of interest within. I love working on the Google space and on Google's products, but as we all know, Google changes really quick. They change how their products work, they change the features within those products, and sometimes they fold their products or release new ones without a whole lot of heads up. And so what we do at Miles is one of the solutions is we provide support for a program called the Google DMO Partnership Program. And so that's where this presentation, this webinar is coming from, working with destinations specifically on working with them on how they can enhance their online visibility, enhance their destination's perception, all of those things. And this webinar today is a component of those solutions that we provide at Miles. As far as the program goes, we've worked with more than 170 destinations, audited 62,000 plus business profiles, and have directly managed more than 75 Google My Business profiles. So you might remember we talked about the best practices and kind of laid out some of the tips and tricks for what you can do to optimize your business profile. That's all coming from our experience of managing business profiles directly, as well as the audit process. So we've gone through and made note of what are the top performing business profiles doing, and then taken those notes, thrown them into these presentations for you today and 2 weeks ago, and that's what we're going to be speaking on. So a little kind of agenda for today. We're going to do a recap from part 1. So just do a quick little refresher. We're not going to spend a lot of time there because I want to make sure that we have enough time to dive into the nitty and gritty today for responding to reviews, messaging, so customer communications, specifically inside of Google My Business, customer questions and answers, managing your visual representation, so your photos and 360s and video, and what you can do to really enhance the quality of content found within your business profile. Then we'll talk about posts and then wrap up ultimately with insights data. So looking at your analytics inside of Google My Business specifically to get an idea of what's working and what's not. So just a recap here of the business profile first. You might remember that the business profile is basically everything that Google knows about a single business or place. So remember, you can pull up your business profile by searching the name of your business inside of Google Search or Google Maps, and it'll essentially contain everything that Google knows about your business in that place, which is called the business profile or the knowledge panel. And it's likely that your business profile, and maybe you've already checked into this already, but it's likely that it's the single largest source of your organic exposure online. And so here's our optimization checklist. These were some of the different topics that we talked about and unpacked in the first part: claiming your business, verifying, downloading the GMB app, making sure that you've added in all of your basic information, and then beyond just that, expanding the opportunities and information and features within Google My Business by using service areas, categories and attributes, menus, services, and products. So make sure that you've gotten through and you've started here before you begin uploading photos and managing reviews and questions and answers. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's presentation. Be sure that you have all of these boxes checked if they're applicable to your business, of course. You might remember us talking about the local pack, and the local pack is the result of a keyword in a location search, specifically in Google search. So if I type in restaurant Amelia Island, these were my results that we're seeing off to the left here. What will happen is Google will provide top 3 results based on a couple of reasons. Those reasons likely and are heavily impacted by distance, relevance, and prominence factors. So where your business is located or what areas your business services, the relevance, so the information found within your profile, so your category and your attributes and other information listed in your profile. And then the prominence factor we did not get into in the part 1, and we will get into today, and that is what your business is known for. What are people saying about your business? And that comes into play with reviews and questions and answers. So the goal here is to have a fully optimized, up-to-date business profile, because better business profiles drive more exposure as well as more engagement. And the goal for us in presenting this to you is we want to help you maximize your exposure and engagement for your business profile because it benefits everyone involved. Remember, it benefits your business, more eyes on your business and the information of what your business does, sells, offers. It benefits the visitor, so they can confidently go in, use Google's products, look at your business profile, see that you have a complete profile, see that you have photos, and be more excited about visiting your business based off of the information they found inside of Google's products about your business. And then it wraps up into benefiting the destination as a whole. So as a traveler, if I'm looking for places to stay and restaurants to eat at and things to do, and I come across a lot of high quality, up-to-date, optimized business profiles, that's going to positively impact my destination perception. The goal there is kind of to have a, that it's an idea of a rising tide raises all ships concept. And so if everybody within the Amelia Island area, meaning businesses, optimize their listings, that's going to enhance the perception of the overall destination, not just of the business alone. So now we're going to dive into ratings, reviews, and replies. So specifically the reviews tab inside of your Google My Business dashboard. Customer reviews are posted by users directly to your business profile. They appear wherever your profile appears and are the source of your star ratings. So if you wonder kind of where your star rating comes from, that's coming in from people's ratings specific to your business profile. And remember, your reviews show anywhere that your business profile shows, so Google Maps or Google Search. And we have some interesting information here from the consumer review survey put together by Bright Local. We've included the link to that survey because we find that there's actually a lot of valuable information beyond just these specific metrics that we're going to show here. So what you'll do is be able to unpack or go through and read the Bright Local consumer review survey on your own time, and it's likely that you're going to find some impactful information within that survey. But some of the numbers that we find helpful to share in this presentation are these, and they're specific to how consumers respond and engage with reviews on your page. And this last point you're probably going to find pretty surprising. So first one being 86% of consumers read reviews for local businesses. I think that one's probably not much of a shock there. I think we're all guilty of reading reviews on pages before we actually go and visit the business in person. 57% of consumers will only use a business if it has 4 or more stars. So 4 or more stars means that there's a lot of competition. So if you're a business and you have a couple competitors in your area or in your region, and all of you are in that 4-star and above rating, that means the competition is pretty stiff in appearing in that local pack. Reviews is a high ranking signal on how your business profile appears in that local pack. And so if you're at a 4.3 and you have a competitor or a business that's similar that's at a 4.5, that could be the difference between them ending up in those top 3 results and you not. So your reviews are important, your ratings are important, and especially, like I said, the competition gets really stiff in that 4.0 or higher kind of rating arena. And lastly here, 89% of consumers read businesses' responses to reviews. So this is probably the most enlightening point here to bring up, and that is people want to know what you have to say and how you're going to respond to reviews. You'll notice it doesn't just say negative reviews or positive reviews, just all reviews. Consumers want to know that you're engaged and that if they have an issue or if they want to write a review, that they can expect you to respond to them. It's a great way to kind of build loyalty with future customers, and so be sure to respond to reviews. And you might ask, how long is it, or how long is too long to respond to like an older review? Let's say it's 6 months or a year old and you've left it unresponded to. There's not really like a best practice there. I'd say it really kind of depends on the context of the review. If it's a review talking about maybe a specific product or item that you've since removed from your menu or you've changed, that would be worth responding to. And so even if it's like a year or 2 old, respond back to them. You can start off with apologizing and it took so long to respond. Maybe you can mention something that you're just getting started in managing this page. Therefore, you're just getting to be able to respond to the reviews now. Let them know that you've changed the product, that you've enhanced the product, that whatever you've done to make it better. And that way, you've addressed that issue, and it won't negatively impact someone's perception of your business or the products that you sell or services that you offer in the future. Okay, so remember, we're going to unpack the prominence factor. We've already discussed distance and relevance today, specifically on what your business is known for and what are people saying about your business. And I just mentioned the local finder ranking factors, and so reviews place in that 3rd spot here in terms of ranking factors for how your business ranks inside of the local pack due to a specific search for a keyword and location. Some numbers here provided by our audit results show that 81% of reviews are 4.0 or higher. Less than 4% are 1 star. So remember that competition gets pretty difficult or tricky in that 4.0 or higher, showing that the majority of the businesses inside of Google My Business that we've audited are in that 4.0 or higher space. The median rating being 4.4, which means it gets really competitive in that 4.4 to 5-star rating. So we're going to talk about the vector. So what does that mean? The vector is your rating and the trajectory of it either going up or down. And so what you can do is take the score for your last 15 reviews and calculate the average, the overall average of that, and compare it to your current rating vector right now. So if you're our current rating score, so if you're at like a 4.4 right now, and your rating vector shows, based off your last 15 reviews, shows that you're at a 4.7, that's going to mean that your rating vector should start going up. So you should bump up a number or two. If you see your number drop based off your vector, that's worth paying attention to and doing everything in your best interest to generate and encourage more positive reviews. That way you don't see your number drop, especially if you're ending up in the local pack and you're pulling in a lot of search results and impressions on your business profile, and your score starts doing this, you're going to start seeing those impressions do this as well. So you're going to start dropping and plummeting. So now we're going to get into responding to reviews, how to do that effectively, strategically, and really get the most out of the reviews on your page. Remember that if you do have any questions, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but if you do have any questions, you can ask them in the questions tab there in the control panel, and then we can address those at the end of today's webinar, or you can save the questions. I know a handful of you have scheduled office hours, so if you're just logged in, you can schedule those office hours in the chat box. I've included that link. For the resources, so the recordings and the PDF of this presentation, you can go to ameliaislandtdc.com and access the PDF as well as the MP4 or the video recording of each of these sessions to share out with employees, with your team, with management, or refer back to it if you need to do a little refresher. So one of the first steps to success in managing reviews inside of your Google My Business page is to know when reviews are first posted. And the way you can do that is by going into your settings inside of your dashboard and turning on notifications for customer reviews. What will happen is you'll get an email every time a review is posted, and you can respond to it promptly in that way. So this is probably the best thing that you can do in terms of responding to reviews quickly, because again, you'll get notified right away. You can look down at your phone, manage the review, respond to it right there, and instantly you have taken care of responding to those reviews and set up a good best practice moving forward for your business profile. Some additional best practices that come in from Google here regarding reviews is first to ignore minor complaints. So it's just like especially like if it's a star rating without any review, let's say it's a 1-star rating without any context, no text explaining why they gave you 1 star, that would actually be something that I wouldn't just ignore, but I'd flag that review because there's no context there. Therefore, all it is doing is negatively impacting your vector and potentially your score. So go ahead and flag any reviews that have lower than 5-star rating with no context. If it has 5 stars, go ahead and ignore and don't worry about flagging that. You're gonna want that 5-star there. Address issues constructively. So if there is a problem and someone has negatively reviewed your business inside of Google, go ahead and do your best to respond to that in a constructive way. I like to be, you'll see Google here at the bottom here, number 5, be professional and polite. But beyond that, I think adding in a personal touch, letting them know your name, maybe your role at the business, and then respond to that review and see if you can handle it there. And we've got an additional tip for what you can do in terms of negative reviews here in a second. Don't use responses to advertise. So it's Google just asking that you don't use that space for that. And then don't offer users anything in responding to the reviews. I think we all know what that potentially looks like. In terms of responding to negative reviews, couple tips here. First is keep it short. And then encourage them to contact you offline. What that does is it alleviates the idea, removes the idea or opportunity of a battle between you and the customer unfolding on your business profile. Because remember what we saw earlier, that 89% of consumers read business owners' responses to reviews. If you get into a battle back and forth, people are going to read that, and that can negatively impact future visitation or customers to your business. So the best thing to do is if you get a 1-star rating and they start ripping your business apart in the review, respond to them, give them your name, your title of the company or the business, and ask them to contact you offline so you can resolve it over the phone. As we all know, people are very different when they're on a phone call or in person than they are online when they're typing away on the keyboard. So best thing for you to do is have them contact you offline, see if you can resolve the issue with them, And if you are able to resolve it, ask them politely to remove their review. Only they can remove it. If you resolve the issue and they haven't removed it, you can flag it saying that the review is no longer applicable to your business profile. Okay. Inside of your reviews tab in Google My Business, it'll show all of your reviews, the ones you've replied to and the ones you haven't replied to. So remember that it's never really too late to respond to an appropriate review. Some of them might just be like, burger was great, awesome. You can respond to that, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time, especially if it's a 2-year-old review, but it might be worth your time, 5 seconds here and there saying, thank you so much for the 5-star review. Glad you came by for a visit. Hope to see you soon. Cheers, your name and your role at the company. Okay. If it's no longer applicable or for whatever reason, or kind of like what we see here, based off of the unfolding between the owner and the consumer here on this review, you can flag it as inappropriate by clicking on the 3 dots here. That will then bring up a bunch of different opportunities for flagging that review. Spam or fake content, off-topic, restricted content. Impersonation would mean essentially content attributed to another individual, company, or organization. So that could be like, my sister had the worst steak ever at that restaurant. Google doesn't care about your sister's experience. They want to know about your own experience as a reviewer. So that would be an option. So if you ever come across reviews like that on your profile, you can flag those. And then conflict of interest would be reviewing your own business. So don't go through and review your own business. Don't have your employees review it. If you ever have an employee, former employee that comes in and talks smack on your business profile, you can flag that for removal. Or competitors trying to manipulate ratings. So if you see a name of the business owner of your competitor reviewing your page, definitely make sure you're flagging that. Maybe shoot them a call and say, hey, don't do that. We want to be good team players here online in the world of Google. Also, don't be that business owner talking smack on your competitors' pages either. You don't want to be that person. Reporting reviews. So what happens when you report that review? You'll get a response from Google that looks like this. Basically them saying, due to high demand, expect delays in our processing of your flag request. They ask you to not flag the same review twice. So let Google handle it. If it doesn't get resolved, we do have a resource here for you. And that is the bit.ly link that'll take you to the specialist link. So sometimes you might have experienced getting support inside of Google is actually a little bit difficult. It's hard to find and navigate through all of the different sites to ultimately get to a place that you can talk to someone that can help you. So we've made that really easy for you, and all you have to do is click this link, or you can type in bit.ly/, capital G, capital M, capital B, capital G, lowercase o, and that will take you to the specialist link here. And the reason we bring this up is if you've flagged a review and it hasn't been removed after a couple days or even weeks, remember, Google's going to ask you not to flag it again. Instead, talk to a specialist, let Google know, hey, here's the issue. This review was resolved. I hopped on a call with a person. We need to make sure that it's removed because it's negatively impacting our rating score and therefore how our business appears in Google search and in Google Maps. Encouraging positive reviews is important for you to do so. Sometimes it can feel a little bit awkward, but the most common ways in which businesses ask for consumers or customers to leave reviews is in person during the sale. And so maybe this could be a quick 10-minute training, 15-minute training with your employees on working with them to politely ask customers to leave a review on your Google page. I don't have any problem as a consumer at any business being asked about leaving a review. I obviously understand the impact that reviews have, so I love leaving positive reviews. If I have an issue in my experience at business, I typically try not to badmouth them on social or on the web. I'll typically try to handle it with a manager in person and resolve it that way, but obviously we know that not everybody handles their negative experiences that way. They want to share it online. But these are just a couple ways that you can encourage or ask people to leave reviews, and they are common, so it's not totally awkward and weird. Maybe, like I said, it would require a quick 10, 15-minute training with your staff on just, hey, here's some easy ways that you can encourage somebody to leave a review One of them being, if you work at a restaurant or own a restaurant, and your staff, serving a table, and the table, in the process of serving, maybe refilling water, someone at the table mentions that it's the best burger they've ever had in their life. That would be a trigger point for your employee to then say, glad to hear that. What was it about the burger that you liked? Do a little dialogue back and forth. And once you kind of wrapped up that conversation, then ask that customer, hey, by the way, since you love the burger so much, would you mind sharing that on our Google My Business page, talking about the burger and your experience here? That would be a really easy way to encourage a consumer or a customer to leave a review on your Google page. Okay. Beyond setting up a review or setting up kind of tactics to encouraging reviews, go ahead and set up your short name. So what this will do is it falls underneath your phone number inside of your basic information tab here. Your short name will have to be based off of your display name, existing branding, current or custom URLs, or the name of your linked website. So that can't just be a completely random name there. Make sure that's based off of your business name currently. Once you've set that up, you can then share g.page / your short name. And that's an easy way for people to go to either your business profile or to your review page specifically. And so if you handle receipts or do outreach to your consumers or customers via email or text, this is an easy link to include in that text to encourage positive reviews. So that's another way to hopefully drive more traffic to people leaving reviews onto your Google My Business page. These can also be shared out in social, so you can share it out to your social followers. Hey, would any of you mind leaving a positive review? You can put out a Facebook post or a tweet or an Instagram post, including this link maybe in the bio on your Instagram profile. Some additional resources to encourage people to leave reviews. One of them might be, and you've probably seen this, would be the Review Us on Google sticker. You can request those for free at marketingkitwithgoogle.com. Beyond just stickers, they have posters, social posts, and more, all things that you can use to encourage positive interaction with your business profile. Okay, so that's reviews kind of in a nutshell. Communicating with customers directly. So right now we're going to talk about the messaging opportunity or messaging feature, which allows you to connect with your customers directly and privately through your business profile with questions and concerns. But this is only available inside of the GMB app. So if you haven't downloaded the app yet and signed in to your business profile, you will not have access to messages yet. So what you have to do is go into the app, sign in to your Gmail account information, and then turn on messaging. You have to click that, set up a welcome message. So something like, hi, how can I help you today? Thanks for reaching out. My name's Josh, how can I help you? Something along those lines. And then once that's set up, people will then be able to engage with your business profile directly and be able to message you from that profile. So they'll see something like this appear inside of your profile in Google Maps. They can click either here on message this business or up here next to your contact information, and then they can reach out to you regarding that. I like to use messaging for like a negative experience because it's private. So if I'm not able to talk about my issue while I'm at the business with the manager, messaging is a great way to actually do that. Just reaching out, because I don't like to necessarily badmouth businesses publicly. I understand that people just have bad days. And so I don't like to write terrible reviews and giving 1 stars, because I do understand the impact of how that can negatively impact future visitation to a business. And so I find messaging to be a cool tool to use where I can actually reach out, have dialogue privately back and forth with somebody, a representative from that business. So consumers can click on that, and then it'll open up a private chat box. If you have the app, you'll get notified when a message comes through. Remember, they are private, but doesn't mean that you want to necessarily get into a battle, and I'll get into why here in a second. So it is a great way to contact and communicate directly with customers. Make sure that you do have someone who's prepared to answer the questions as they come through. So if you turn it on, be sure that you have the time and bandwidth to check and answer any questions that come through. You don't really want them to go unresponded more than 24 hours. It's kind of meant to be instant to some degree. It doesn't mean that you have to be online 24 hours, but it's going to be in your best interest to respond to them quickly and promptly. You are able to allow multiple users and device access. So if you have a couple members on your team that all access Google My Business, they can respond to messages as well. So just make sure you kind of have a key person who's checking in and taking responsibility, but obviously you can delegate how you respond to messages. And then kind of wrapping up here with messaging, they're not public, so they are private, but that doesn't mean that you still want to get into a back and forth battle, because those conversations can be screen captured by the consumer and then blast you somewhere else, maybe in reviews, post those photos on your page or somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you are representing your business in the best way possible, and that does not look like getting into battles with consumers online ever. It's not going to be good or beneficial to your business. Monitoring questions and answers. So typically when I give this presentation online or in person, I have everyone kind of engage with this question, but have you ever used or responded to questions and answers inside of your business profile? And typically like one person out of like a room of like 100 has ever responded to a question and answer. And the reason for that is because people don't really know, or business owners don't really know that questions and answers are a thing, because they do not appear inside of your Google My Business dashboard. They only appear, and I'll say this a couple of times throughout the section, but they only appear inside of Google search on your business profile. They do not appear in Google Maps. So if wherever your profile appears in Maps, questions and answers do not show there. They do not show inside of your GMB dashboard. So as you're going through and managing your page, questions and answers do not appear there. They only appear, and you can only engage with them inside of Google search on your business profile. Okay, and we're going to take a look at kind of some best practices here for questions and answers. It's a public feature, which means anybody can respond, or anybody can ask a question, and anybody can answer or respond to a question. However, sometimes those responses aren't necessarily always helpful or correct, and we'll see kind of what that looks like here in a second. Best case scenario is that questions and answers, questions get answered by the business owner or manager or employee, because you are likely the expert regarding the business, not local guides, but local guides play an integral role in how questions and answers are engaged with. And so kind of showing a little bit about the local guide program. If you're not too familiar with this, it's a free to use public program. It's kind of in a way like a social, it's got like some social media components to it. It's not really something you connect with a lot of other local guides, but it's a way for people to connect with businesses, share reviews, upload photos, answer questions, update attributes, and make changes. And this is oftentimes, this is important to note, if you've ever seen orange text, like orange alerts inside of your business profile, those are alerts likely coming in from local guides trying to make edits to your page that you ultimately have to approve before they go live. So again, if you're seeing edits inside of your info tab, specific to like your attributes or like a category, if you see like looking at your categories and there's like an orange option there showing up, that means that there's a local guide who likely made an edit, and before that edit goes live, you either can approve or deny it. Okay, so local guides are pretty responsive. There's a lot of them, as you can see based off these numbers, and they're pretty active inside of Google's products. I'm a local guide, and I mentioned I like leaving reviews for businesses that have positive experiences at. There's like a point system involved with it all, and so the more reviews and the more photos that you upload counts to points. The more points you get access to additional like beta testing inside of Google's products, which means testing new features and tools and services inside of Google's kind of ecosystem. Sometimes Google will send you like coupons or gift cards or like different perks for leveling up. And so it's a fun program if you're not a local guide, but you like leaving reviews. You can go ahead and opt in to the local guide program by going to Local Guides Connect and start engaging with that there. The reason that that's important is because local guides can, again, make, or the reason it's important to bring up the guides program is that they can make changes to your business profile. And if your profile is left unmanaged, what will happen then is Google will either decide on whether or not they're going to apply the edit. So if they see that no one's logged into your account for a couple months, they might go ahead and automatically apply an edit that a local guide made. And that's why sometimes you'll see like the wrong address or phone number or business hours on a profile. That's because a local guide has made those edits and they've gone through and now they're publicly showing. So they can make all sorts of different optimizations. You'll see here, like this photo example, Google's asking this local guide to make the decision of what photo is more helpful. And they're going to take that answer and then rank those photos accordingly. So depending on what photo I pick from these examples here, Google might put one higher in the ranking of a photo gallery and one lower based off of what one I selected as being more helpful. So now we're going to go back to questions and answers and how local guides play a role in that. So typically, because most business owners and those of you that are running business profiles aren't aware of questions and answers, they're not typically getting answered by you. They're typically getting answered by a local guide. Sometimes that's helpful and good. Other times it's not that helpful and not so great. Best case scenario is that the questions and answers are engaged with by the owner or the manager, whoever's managing the business profile, because again, you are the expert. As you can see here, some of these questions are a little goofy. These are specific to the Statue of Liberty. And so how many inches is it? And then a local guide comes in and answers 151 feet tall, 305 feet high. Does the Statue of Liberty wink? Not to all. Hello, how are you? So that local guide is obviously looking to make a little bit of a friend there. What is the quality? Top. So none of these questions have been answered by anyone at the Statue of Liberty. So, and probably because none of these questions are really that legitimate. So sometimes it's a little crazy and a little goofy. Doesn't mean you need to engage with all of them, but if there's a legitimate question that's come through, I'd say it's in your best interest to engage with that. That way the correct answer is on there, and maybe that'll answer people's additional questions or future customers or consumers' questions later. And I apologize for the construction. Turns out there's a jackhammer out the window, so if you can hear that, I hope it's not too loud. And you can clearly hear me on the webinar here. This is one of my favorite examples of what we've come across as far as like goofy questions and answers. And this is, again, specific to the Statue of Liberty. What is the history of the Statue of Liberty, and did a panda make it? Which I think this person was just having a little bit of fun. But then you get a local guide who's doing their best to be helpful. Hi, access the website. There are many informations there, winky face. So yeah, I don't know. Did a panda make it? We may not ever know the answer to that question, because the owner, or not the owner, but the manager of the business profile for the Statue of Liberty has not answered it. So if typically when I ask if anyone's used questions and answers or engaged with it, you can kind of see people kind of sink in their chair a little bit. If you did that a little bit, or you're like, I've never engaged with it at all, don't worry, because 95% of the audited listings had questions from customers. So out of those 62,000 profiles, majority of them had questions and answers. Less than 15% of those had answers from the business owner or from whoever's managing the business profile. So don't feel too guilty. Again, the reason is because Google has not made this an easy to use tool for business owners or managers to be able to engage with. You'll have to go directly to Google search in order to answer questions, okay? One of the things that you can do, however, is just like we looked at turning on the notifications for customer reviews, you can go to settings and turn on the notifications for questions and answers. What will then happen is you'll get an email in your inbox showing that, hey, there's been a question that's been asked. You can click on reply now, and then what will happen is Google will pull up the questions and answers section, show you the question. In this case, does every room have a balcony? And then you can answer it. Know that every time you answer a review from your business profile or from this email prompt here, it'll show as the business owner. And so it gives a little bit more clout and credibility to the answer there. And this is worth engaging with, especially in this question here, where this guy's asking a legitimate question of whether or not every room has a balcony. And then you get a couple local guides here below that don't have the most helpful responses. One is not all but most of yes, and no. So if you're Rick and you take that information, it's probably going to be pretty difficult to figure out what to make of all of that. And this would be the best case scenario for the owner here to answer. Hey, Rick, thanks for the question. Every east-facing room has a balcony. Call this number, talk to Tim at the front desk, and he'll get you set up with reservations to make sure that you have a room with a balcony if that's what you're interested in. Okay. Just like reviews, just like photos that we'll get into here, you can flag questions that are maybe off topic, no longer apply, or maybe incorrect information. After you've provided your own answers, just report those bad answers. So go in there and click that flag button, and you can get those poor answers or off topic answers, whatever they might be, incorrect answers removed. And then a little tip here is to take your frequently asked questions off of your website. So if you have an FAQ page, you can go ahead and take those and create your own questions and answers thread inside of your business profile. And this does a couple things. It increases the amount of information on your profile, keywords and things like that. So taking your questions and answers off your website or copying them off your website and applying them here. It also will hopefully alleviate any future questions by having them included on your profile. And so the process in doing so, just go to your business profile inside of Google search, scroll down underneath reviews, click on the ask a question box there, open up the question, and then you can ask, you see this example here, how far is the hotel from the Ala Moana shopping area? The business owner has posted that question, posted it publicly, and then you go back through and answer it as the owner as well. All right, so that is kind of the managing your customer sentiment and communications with reviews, questions, and answers, as well as instant messaging using the messaging tool. Now we're going to talk about managing your visual representation. Remember, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the question box there, or we can wait until our one-on-one session here in a little bit. Okay, so managing your visual representation. Photos are a key part of how potential customers make decisions about your business. In fact, it's one of the main factors in how your business is it obviously appears in quality and what you serve. It's one of the main components people are going to figure out, kind of what your business entails, what your rooms look like, the quality of your pool, the quality of your seating options, things like that. People are consuming and digesting all of that information when they're looking at your profiles or working at your photos within your profile. So it's in your best interest to make sure that you're uploading the highest quality photos that tell a good story, a positive story of what your business entails, what you sell, what you serve, what you offer. Okay. And what we find is that listings with quality photos are actually twice as likely to generate engagement with customers. So business profiles with those higher quality images likely have a higher number of engagement in terms of people looking at photos and commenting, or leaving reviews, and typically just engaging with the business profile overall. 90%, again, these are some findings from our audit process. It shows that 90% of photos available for your business are supplied by your customers, meaning the majority of the photos inside of your business profile are actually probably coming in from your consumers, which sometimes is a good and bad thing, depending on the quality of photos supplied by your visitors. But what we found is that 49% of customer photos actually account for less than half of all the views. So 49% meaning the views on your profile. So if you see 100,000 views, 49,000 views are coming in from customer photos, and 51,000 views are coming in from the photos that you've uploaded. So if you've uploaded only a handful of photos, don't worry, because typically your photos as the owner or the manager of your profile are getting more views than the customer photos. Okay, so hopefully that'll encourage you to continue to upload more photos. You can go through, there's a bunch of different tabs based off of how photos, the type of content inside the photo, if it's an interior, exterior photo, photos of food and drink, as well as you can kind of toggle back and forth between photos you've uploaded and photos uploaded by your customers. One of our tips here is to upload photos frequently to your business profile. Typically what happens is business owners and managers will set up a business profile and kind of set it and forget it. But just like your social media channels, you don't want to just like create a Facebook page and put up a photo and then put up one post and then never touch your Facebook again, and then wonder why there's now no engagement or people aren't interacting with you on that channel. Kind of same thing goes for your Google My Business page. You want to make sure that you've uploaded photos and you continue to do so, that you continue to optimize your page. It shows Google that you're actively engaged with your business profile, and it actually will help increase the amount of exposures for your business. And one of those ways to do so is by adding new photos every month. So it doesn't mean that you need to hire a photographer every month and upload 100 photos every month. One of the easy things that you could do to benefit from is to add a couple photos, or 4 to 5 photos a month. And what we found is that it can actually increase the amount of exposures by 30% for your business profile. So you know, these photos can be photos uploaded from your phone, taken with your phone. Doesn't need to be professional images every time. Just make sure that you are shooting the highest quality photos that you possibly can, because you want to make sure that you're showing off your business in the most positive way possible. All right, so some photo best practices here. So some things to think about before you start shooting photos of your business, and especially before you start uploading those to your business profile. First thing is you want to make sure the photos are informative. What would a potential visitor want to know or see about this place or about your business? So consider the scope, the scale, and the context of your business. All right. Second is you want to make sure your photos are attractive. So obviously you want to make sure that they're high quality, the colors pop, that it's composed in a way that's the photo just looks really good. It encourages a click, which would count as another exposure inside of Google. Some things you want to consider are the color, the contrast, saturation, lighting, focus, leading lines. Again, how you compose that image is important. And the third thing here is representative. So represent what the place would typically look like, which means avoiding featuring specific events, seasons, or conditions. Okay. So a great example of what to do versus what not to upload. So the photo off the left obviously is a bright, attractive image. It's easy to know where it was taken. It provides some context of what else is going on around the area. It's just a well-composed image in a lot of ways. The photo, however, off to the right kind of looks like something straight out of a zombie film and does not get me that excited about visiting that location. It looks abandoned, the colors are muddy, the horizon's off kilter. Not a great photo. And so that would be an example of an image, especially if this is uploaded by a consumer or a customer. I would flag that photo for poor quality. If it's a photo that you've uploaded as an owner and it looks like something like this, remove it, and then make sure that you're shooting higher quality photos in the future. Okay. And the reason for uploading higher quality is not only just to have better images on your profile that tell a better story, but they're going to provide for more views. And so we see that example clearly here with these two photos, which were shot at nearly the same time by the same local guide, uploaded at the same time. And as you can see, the photo that was composed better, has more light, has more pop to it, has brought in more than 10 times the amount of views as a photo that's a bit more dead looking, not as attractive, kind of just looks like a pile of dead fish, only has 10,000 views. So you want to make sure that you, again, are posting the highest quality photos. It's not that hard to do that. You can download a photo editing app on your phone and just bring up the brightness factor, the contrast a little bit, as well as saturation, and you can add a lot of life to a photo very easily with that. Some additional photo best practices here to think about before you upload to Google, and these come in based off of the photos that we find to perform well inside of Google. First, you want to make sure that you own the complete rights to the photo, or you shot the photo yourself. That way you don't get into any kind of legal issues. Upload at least 4K images. So most of our smartphones are capable of doing that now, so don't worry if you've got an iPhone or a Samsung or some sort of other Android phone. Most of our phones are capable of shooting high quality, like 11 megapixels and above images. So you can use your phone to upload photos. There's nothing wrong with that. Do not use filters. We find that photos with filters applied to them don't perform as well inside of Google. We've done some side-by-side tests to prove that. Avoid seasonal images unless it's relevant to the location you're shooting. So for all of you in Amelia Island, probably not in your best interest to focus on like specifically like rainfall, storm photos, things like that. So you want to make sure that bright blue skies, that the photos are best representing your business, that people are more excited to visit your business based off of the information and content they found on your business profile. Keep your vertical and horizontal lines as straight as possible, so make sure you don't have off-kilter horizons. We find that horizontal images actually work better and perform better inside of Google. So a landscape image versus a vertical or portrait image. And then lastly, the interiors without people are preferred to those with people. That means you don't have to deal with release forms or dealing with identifiable faces, and can keep you out of kind of any legal trouble there. And we actually just find that photos without a lot of people in the room or with no people in the room will outperform, meaning it'll get more views than a photo with people in the room, especially if there are any recognizable faces. In that case, Google definitely doesn't provide for or rank that photo as high as it would if it was just a photo of an empty room. All right, so another photo or visual optimization tip here would be to set the cover photo and the logo for your business profile. This is something that oftentimes gets missed as well. And so in order to do that, you can go into your dashboard, click on photos, and then you've got your cover photo and logo option here. Go ahead and include that. It's just a way to increase your branding. And the benefit to setting up your cover photo is that will be the first photo that shows on your business profile. So you want to make sure that that's a photo that best represents your business. I think the Seaside Grill did a fantastic job doing exactly that here. In terms of low quality images and how to engage with them, sadly, there's not a way to just delete or remove images that you don't want showing. You can only flag them. What will happen is, just like a review or a question and answer, you'll put in a flag request, and then Google will decide whether or not they're going to remove the photo, rank it lower, or do nothing. And so in order to go through and flag a photo, if you just open up the photo inside of your Google My Business dashboard, looking at customer photos, click the flag button, and then choose from one of the options here. In this case, this photo is not offensive. It's not a privacy concern, but it is a photo of the property. However, it's a low quality photo. It's obviously looks like a smartphone image shot at night with a flash. So I would not want this ranking high in my business profile as a business owner. However, I'd be okay with it ranking lower, or I'd be even happier if Google removed it. So let's just go ahead and flag it as poor quality and then see what Google does with it from there. Just like we saw with questions and answers and reviews, if you review something and nothing happens, or if you flag something and nothing happens, you can reach out to Google My Business support and let them know, hey, there's a photo, especially if it's an offensive photo of any kind. If there's a photo that needs to be removed, I would talk to a specialist right away. I would flag it first and then talk to a specialist immediately following the flag request, and then see if you can have Google resolve that photo, especially, again, if it's an offensive or a photo that should not be posted online. Kind of wrapping up here with visual representation, and we're going to talk about the use of 360 images, so photospheres, in virtual tours to tell more of a story from your business profile. It's a great way to attract customers as well. There's definitely a correlation between Google and 360 content, and so people are kind of getting to a place where they're expecting to be able to look around more often inside of Google's products. And so uploading 360 photos is a great way to kind of not only just manage your visual representation well, but kind of take the extra step to really kind of showing off what your business entails. And so you can do this easily and for free by downloading the Street View app, and we'll get into that. Or obviously you can hire a pro or buy a dedicated 360 camera to do this as well. So we'll get into some different tips and tricks, but it's a great way to really kind of expand the amount of visual content and tell even more of a story on your business profile. Beyond just posting them to your photos, you can connect all of your 360 photos into virtual tours that allow customers to take a walk through your business. And so this is actually, I'd say, increasingly important now with COVID-19 response and people being able to kind of get an idea of what a business would look like before, explore businesses before ever visiting in person. What they'll be able to do is kind of walk through and do a virtual tour and get an idea of what to expect before visiting. So you can use a tool, one of them being gothrough.co. Some of them have different pay-to-play features. This is just one of them that we've used to connect tours for businesses in the past. So you might be kind of wondering why it would be important to think about 360 photos, or why we're even talking about this right now. Well, one of the reasons is you'll probably find when you're looking at your business profiles that there is already a 360 photo street view photo tab applied to your business profile. And the reason that's appearing is because Google has married your location with the street view photo that was shot at that location. Therefore, they're saying that this photo here is a photo of your business and it's already applied here. But you might notice that the photo or whenever Google drove their car by your business wasn't the best time. This is the case here for this hotel in Puerto Rico, where this was not the cover photo, but it was one of the photos ranking high coming in from Street View applied to the business. So what I would then recommend for this business owner to do is first flag this photo and then download the Street View app, go outside and shoot a new 360 photo, and that should then replace or at least outrank this older photo here. Okay, another example here of why you might want to consider downloading the Street View app so you can not only see what Google Street View shows near your business, but also that you can recreate or create new content to then replace photos that aren't showing your business in the best way possible. This is a photo of an office space in Auckland, New Zealand, which just so happened to be poor timing where the waste truck drove by at the time the Google car was passing the office here. Okay, so what you can do is download the Street View app. It is free. Inside of the app, there's a camera tool for you to open up the camera and take a photosphere. You'll point the camera at all the dots inside of the app, and then Google will stitch all those photos together, and then you can upload those photos to your business directly inside of the Street View app, and then those photos will appear inside of your Google My Business page. Another way to address it would be to buy your own 360 camera, and that'll allow you to shoot a higher quality photo and doesn't require having to shoot a bunch of different photos to then be stitched together. There's different cameras, some of them in the 200 to 300 range that we could recommend. One of them is the Ricoh Theta V. As you can see here, it shoots a 4K image. It's a pretty high quality image overall. There are no stitching errors because it shoots the images at one time versus the app where you'll have some different issues if there's any kind of movement or you're not standing in one place while shooting the photos. So you could go this route, or you could also work with a Street View trusted professional in your area, and you can go to Street View or google.com/Street View/hire to find a professional in your area to work with if you don't have someone in mind already. So again, it's important to think about maybe how you can apply 360 photos to your business profile. It's a way to tell even more of a story from your profile. And again, people are coming to a place where they're expecting to be able to engage with 360 photos because you're able to get more information by looking at one 360 photo than a lot of photos at one time, right? If I set up a 360 photo or camera inside of your shop, one photo will give somebody the ability to look around and see all the different seating options, the bar, where the pool's at outside and things like that, versus having to look at a bunch of different stills and pull information from those stills. Okay, beyond just uploading them to your business profile, you'll then be able to share or embed your 360 images that you've created or that other people have posted to your business profile to your website. So if you have a blog or a website for your business, you can then share those 360s by copying and pasting this iframe embed code into your website code, and then that photo will appear and people can engage with it directly. Those reviews will then account inside of your Google My Business profile. It's just one way to get more life out of your 360 content. Okay. Posting content, so just kind of continuing in the content realm, and then we're going to wrap today's presentation with talking about insights. So posting content, it's a great way to provide timely updates and news from your business. This is increasingly important, again, with COVID-19 and kind of navigating through how your business has changed, what you've optimized, maybe some procedures that you've changed in terms of sanitation or seating, things like that. You can share all those updates from your business profile. Those updates will appear wherever your business profile appears inside of Google search. It's a free to use tool, and what you can do if you've never engaged with it before is go ahead and just take what you're posting on social channels and then just copy and paste it into Google just to add or give more life to that content you've already created. If you've never utilized the post feature, again, don't worry. Less than 18% of the audited listings that we've worked with have actively used or are actively using posts. Less than 40% have ever even used a post. So a lot of people haven't made use of this feature. Google's definitely put a lot of thought and effort into it, especially with COVID. There's a lot of specific COVID-19 updates that businesses can share from. So see if there's anything that's applicable for you. They are free, trackable, so you can apply a tracking code to them. Visual, meaning you get to decide what photo, what video you are including in your posts, and they're engaging, which means you can include direct call to action buttons or links to your websites, blogs, things like that. All right, so inside of your dashboard, you can click on posts, either up here by selecting add an update, event, offer, product. You'll see a COVID-19 update box here now, or click on the blue circle there. That'll bring up the option to create a post. And again, you can provide updates about maybe new products that you're selling, new services, a new blog article, things like that. We found that the median views per week is about 3,000 and the average interaction rate is about 4%. Some best practices here for using posts effectively. You want to make sure that you've used an attention grabbing photo. So these kind of best practices apply to your social channels as well. Focus your message on the first 100 characters and then add your own tracking codes to your call to action buttons if you'd like to get more information on what people are doing, where they're coming from, things like that. Some additional best practices: only keep 2 posts live at a time to maximize the view rate for your content. Posts are live for a maximum of up to 7 days, which means you have to repost every week. And then post early in the week if you're promoting something the following weekend. So just make sure you give time for like an event post that you're posting earlier on. We have found that event type posts do have the best overall performance from our directly managed profiles. So if you've got events and things like that, be sure that you are promoting those from your business profile as well. All right, and then wrapping up here with the Insights tab. So measuring exposure as well as engagement. So kind of bringing it all to a close here of, have you, made use of all of your basic information? Have you applied all the relevant information available to your business? Have you then gone into managing your photos and questions and answers and reviews and things like that? And then ultimately being able to report on the work that you've put into your business profile. And all of that can be done via the Insights tab inside of your GMB dashboard. So Insights reporting tracks customer exposures and engagement inside Google's platform. You can't get these numbers anywhere. This is all specific to your Google My Business page. This is outside of Google Analytics, it's outside of any other reporting tool. It's all specific to GMB. So you can only get these numbers here. These numbers look like, did people find you directly through discovery or branded? And that's where you'll get some important insight or valuable insight on whether or not the keywords that you've included in your business profile, the categories, attributes, have helped increase your discovery searches, or are people finding you just directly looking for your business name or your address information. Okay, that's a helpful insight to keep track of. Where your customers view your business on Google. So are they finding you in Google search? Are they finding you in Google Maps? The average exposures per month is at 115,000. And that's just an overall average based off of those 62,000 business profiles that we've audited. Conversion rate here. So customer actions, meaning did they visit your website? Did they click through for direction requests? Or did they call you from your business profile? You can get all of that from your Insights tab as well. The overall conversion rate, average conversion rate that we've found is at 4.8%. And these reports are all available inside of the app. There are some features that do vary a little bit here and there, but you can access this on the go if you download the Google My Business app. So that brings us to our close today. I do want to just again thank you to the Amelia Island Convention and Visitors Bureau for hosting and putting on this webinar today, making it available for each and every one of you. When we do wrap up, I will send over the recording to the team to then be able to upload to AmeliaIslandTDC.com. You'll be able to then access these resources, the recording and the PDF there. Remember that we do have time today for office hours. If there isn't any more time available, you can reach out to the team there. We can work with them on setting up some additional time slots for you to then have a one-on-one Google My Business kind of quick audit and help session with me. Looks like we do have a question. In terms of getting your business profile shared on your website, so the question is, can a Google business listing be pulled into a website similar to how we pull Google Maps into our website? I'm not 100% sure on like linking and what you can do to show your business profile inside of your website. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'd say it's just important to make sure that you have your website information included on your business profile rather than having your profile featured on your website. Unless, however, you're trying to generate reviews, then what you can do is on your website strategically build out a space to include direct link to your review section. I might say that's really kind of the main thing that I'd focus on in terms of sharing your business profile information onto your website. Okay. I'll leave this open for a couple minutes here to see if any other questions come in. But again, thank you to all of you that attended today's session. Hope that you were able to learn quite a bit from what we discussed, and look forward to meeting with a lot of you individually for our office hours today. Can I remove an answer to a question from a previous business manager? You should be able to remove it if it was responded to by the owner. Typically, you're able to remove anything that you, meaning the owner or the manager of the page, has posted. If it came in from like their personal local guide account, you won't be able to remove that. You'll have to flag an answer to a question in that way. Remember, with questions and answers, they can only be engaged with inside of Google search. So turn on that notification in your settings section. That way you'll know when questions and answers are posted, and you can respond to them quickly and easily. Again, we'll leave this open for another minute or two, see if any other questions come in. But again, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your schedules to attend today's webinar. If you don't have any questions, you can feel free to go ahead and log off. Or you want to stick around and see if there's anything that might be applicable to you, you can feel free to do so. Is there a benefit to adding metadata descriptions to photos? Great question. I, as a best practice, just working in the world of tech and Google, I like to do that. Whether or not it's affecting how the photo or where the photo shows now, I like to think that eventually that information can positively impact where photos get shown, how they show in the future. So as a best practice, I always apply metadata to and descriptions to photos. You can decide what's best for you. If you're already uploading photos that you've edited on Lightroom, just adding in a couple keywords and naming those photos is always beneficial, whether or not it's necessarily beneficial inside of Google My Business. So that's just kind of like a best practice for me that I kind of live by. How do you get the marketing tools without the mailing addresses? So I'm assuming you're talking about Marketing Kit with Google, and they're looking to ship those resources to your address. Maybe you can give me some clarification on the type of business that you operate. If it's like a service area type business and you don't have a physical mailing address, in that case, you'd probably have to work with support to then request those materials. So if you don't have an address, Google will not ship. It's a very similar thing to requesting a postcard for verification. If you don't have an address, Google will not ship the postcard to you, which means you can't get verified. So you'll have to work with Google support on that. Looks like Google's address on Google is departure address only. Okay, yeah, so in that case, you'd have to reach out to the Marketing Kit support or Google My Business support and ask them to ship directly to whatever your shipping address might be, if it's like a PO box or something along those lines. How about adding videos? As impactful as photos or not as important? Great question, Pam. Definitely add videos if you have like short clips regarding your business profile. You're only allowed up to 30-second clips inside of Google My Business. And so you can't really, if you've got like longer form style content, you'd have to cut it down to kind of fit the time restraints there. So I would say, yeah, it's valuable to add videos. We just focus in on photos today because videos is kind of another beast, but you can add in videos if you have videos that show off your business. And so one of the ways that you can kind of prioritize videos would be if you don't want to shoot 360 photos, but you want to show kind of the size of your business or different features of your business, you could do all of that via video. One tip there is we've actually found that videos shot vertically versus horizontally tend to perform better. Is it important to add keywords to weekly posts? Always, yeah. Any keywords that you can apply that might be like searchable to your business profile is always helpful. I would make sure don't like overly stuff it and make it sound weird just for the sake of adding in keywords. But I would say anything that people might potentially search for and Google can relate to your business, I would say go ahead and include keywords into your posts. All right, so we are 15 past the hour, so I am going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. Thank you so much again to the Amelia Island Convention and Visitors Bureau. We appreciated being able to put on today's webinar with all of you. Hope that you each learned quite a bit from both sessions here, and I do look forward to meeting with each of you shortly here, one-on-one in kind of unpacking any other additional questions you might have or helping you out. So thanks for all the questions, and I look forward to meeting with each of you very soon. Have a great day, and we'll talk shortly.